everyone, Justine Leslie here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. What I do here on my YouTube channel is I help awakened, sensitive, and empathic souls intuitively navigate this crazy world. One of the ways that I do it is I actually have this series going on with angel numbers, about deciphering angel numbers. As somebody who's highly intuitive, I communicate mostly with my angels, who are my guides, who are a spirit team. We all have them, by the way. And I communicate with them to really figure out and channel what kind of communication or message that they are trying to get to us, right? And angels speak, and you've heard me speak about this before, mostly through numbers, sometimes feathers, sometimes coins, synchronicities, obviously, but mostly numbers, So when we see these numbers, they are a direct communication from our angels. It's just about deciphering what they actually mean and what is the actual message, right? So before I jump into this, I do want to make a suggestion and clarify something that I've seen in the comments of these videos. Is that the question that I always get is, how do we know what is actually real? And what I think the person is trying to say, or you guys are trying to say, is that I give about maybe like 2 to 4 different possibilities of why you're seeing 1212, and it could fit under all of them, or one of them could resonate. And that's the thing. That's how you find out if it's real, is that if it resonates with you. So this is where intuition comes in again, right, guys? Because we need to feel into what feels good, and if we get that ping when we're listening to this video. So I actually have about, today's number is 1212. I have about 3 separate reasons that I've channeled of why, reasons why the angels are trying to communicate with us. And if one of them resonates and the others don't, that's totally fine. Everything is unique to you. And everything you can figure out the truth, but by the way it feels, right? So that's something to keep in mind. And I actually want to broaden this to all of life. Basically, we need to feel into what feels good, and that's how we figure out what's true for us, right? So please keep that in mind. Okay, let me jump into it. I've talked enough. I definitely want to get into the meanings behind 1212, so let's get into it. So number one is the angels are trying to tell you that this is a time of reflection in your life, that something is unbalanced, and that something needs a perspective shift. So when we talk about perspective shifts, we use the word miracle because a miracle is simply just a shift in perception from fear to love. So there's something here that needs to be shifted, that needs to be changed, that needs to be transformed, that needs to be transmuted. So basically what's happening here is that when you see 1212, it's important to really catch yourself. And by the way, guys, the worst thing you could think is that these are coincidences. They're really not. There's no coincidences in life, right? Everything is connected. So you're seeing these numbers for a reason, like once, twice, 3 times, 4 times in a row, whatever it is. But when you see this number, please pay attention to what you were thinking about, what you were doing, that kind of thing, because that can really indicate more of a specific message that's tailored more to you, right? So please keep that in mind. But there is something here that, for example, we're operating from a place of fear, and we really need to shift it to a place of love. So there is something tells me when we see this number, we're not completely sure of what that is. And again, when we see that number, it's so important to really catch ourselves and figure out what we're thinking about or what we're actually doing to really give us more clarity around that. Okay, so the second thing, hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Second thing is, so speaking of something that's in balance, it's also a clear, and we're seeing a theme here. It's a clear indication that we are in balance with our masculine and our feminine energies. Now, this is such a vast topic that I usually just hit the surface, especially when I'm talking about masculine and feminine energies in the readings that I put out. But basically, masculine energy is more doing, and feminine is more being. Feminine is more intuitive, more compassionate, more empathetic, more loving, and then masculine is more logical, analytical, more domineering, like that kind of thing. So, and you get things done in the masculine, right? Nothing is better than the other. They're both equal, right? We need both. And that's the other thing too, guys, is that if you feel like you're dominant in one or the other, which most people do, right? For myself, I feel like I'm more feminine because I'm extremely intuitive and all that stuff that comes with it. And I'm also in a female body, right? I'm also in a female human body. And I'm attracted to men, so I'm attracted to more masculine energy, right? I'm heterosexual, and yeah, they're just it's more about not necessarily your romantic life here. It's actually talking about how you operate, where there might be places in your life where you're not getting enough done, or the angels are lovingly pushing you, or you need to be a little bit more softer and more in touch with your feelings. That's more of the feminine side. Something is imbalanced in that area. Can it be linked to what I just said? Could it actually have very similar type pointing to that like particular direction? Yes, but this one is especially about the masculine and the feminine. The other one could just be a perspective shift, and that could be really about anything, not necessarily masculine or feminine energy, if that makes sense. Okay, the third thing that I want to talk about is this is super important because if you've been stuck trying to manifest something that you truly desire from your soul's purpose, this could be a block in it right now. 100%. So that means that there might be too much negative thinking or negative feeling that's happening that's preventing you from manifesting at this particular time. So basically, the 12-12 is reminding you guys that really pay attention to the thoughts that you're having. Really pay attention to how you show up in an empowering place. It almost feels like this energy is like trying to keep us suppressed by keeping this negativity within us. The other thing I could say about this is that I would definitely start to look at when you see 12-12, what are you actually doing when you see it? Like I mentioned earlier, but I would pay more attention to, are you forcing something? Most of the time it'll probably be that way, is that you'll see 12-12 when you're forcing something. So, because guys, when we're forcing stuff, we're not in the flow, and when we're not in the flow, we can't manifest. Okay, that's 100% universal law, just so you guys know, right? And we can't be empowered if we are thinking negatively all the time. So this is almost like to kind of sum it up, 12-12 really kind of comes through with not warnings, because the angels are never trying to communicate really negative things that will happen to you and things like that. But this is more about like, where can you make the small shifts in your life to get the things that you truly desire? And how do you fulfill things? Not how do you fulfill things, but more about like, how do you create more joy in your life, basically, is the best way to say it. How do you create more joy? How do you create more passion? How do you create more purpose? It's usually an imbalance, right? We have the 1-2-1-2. That's why it came up twice in two of these reasons why you're seeing 12-12, but it's really something is off, basically. That's like kind of again, I don't want to say warning, but the message, right? So something is off. But the good news here is that it's really just miracles happen every day, guys, and people think miracles they're not, I wouldn't call them simple. Maybe I would call them simple, but they're not unattainable, right? Sometimes from Christianity, we get the idea that miracles are unattainable, or there's something like crazy or miraculous, but people shift. I mean, it is miraculous, right? But people, and this is a miracle, people shifting their perception from fear to love, but it could happen overnight. It could happen with prayer. It could happen just by a consciousness shift, right? So that's super important to know, is that basically the angels are coming through saying there's something that's not even here. There's something that needs to be tweaked. There's some shift that needs to be made, whether it's that, the imbalance between the masculine and the feminine, something else, or just possibly, a lot of negative thinking on your behalf. So definitely take a look at those things. I hope these were helpful. Let me know in the comments below if it resonated, any of those resonated with you. And I look forward to this series and continuing this series. So hopefully you guys will subscribe to my channel. I think it's this way, this way. So please do if you want to see more content like this, and also follow this series. So Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.